the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We are live. Back from Thanksgiving vacation, downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Thanks for watching and or listening to the show today, wherever that's coming at you from, including the new VSiN Watch app in the Apple App Store and also in the Google Play Store as well. Big show lined up today. We'll get into the title game openers in college football. The playoff show tomorrow night is going to be total anarchy. We'll get into playoff odds in that sport. We do have a Monday night game to break down and bet on tonight as well, Paulie. How you doing?
All right, buddy.
How was Turkey Day?
All right, excellent. Good to have you back. It lived up to the hype, the food, the games, the college hoops, the madness in college football, and then yesterday, the greatest contest in the world. Going back to so many teams could have been eliminated. Still, only 2 people were knocked out, though, in Survivor. I can't get enough of that contest.
No, neither can I. So I'm watching all those games yesterday. And, you know, the NFL has been king for a long, long time for several reasons. One, obviously, would be sports betting and fantasy. Those are the 2 biggest reasons, in my opinion. Also, it is super dramatic, right? Yesterday alone, we had 12 one-score games. And 6 of those games were decided by either 1, 2, or 3 points. And it always comes down to the wire. Scott Hansen has dubbed it the witching hour for a long time on the red zone. So I'm watching, you know, all of them, specifically the end of the Buccaneers-Panthers game. And I'm thinking to myself, because 11 people out of the 54 remaining entries in Circa Survivor were on Tampa Bay. And I can't even imagine watching football and you don't have a sports betting interest and you still like the sport. Right? You don't even know what you're missing. Because I don't have a ticket left. And for the 11 people, I was watching it vicariously through them. And with what took place at the end of that game, first of all, there was a real possibility after it went to overtime and they were going back and forth that it was going to end in a tie. So 11 people who probably hedged before or during the game, who knows how much on Panthers money line, that's a refund and you get nothing back for your entry because that's a loser in Circa Survivor, as it is in all Survivor contests. But the way the Buccaneers, even at the end of regulation, the way they had the ball at the goal line and they could not get it in to make it an 8-point game. So they had to settle for a field goal. Carolina comes down, they take the lead, and the Buccaneers have to kick a field goal to force overtime. Buccaneers get the ball, and they do nothing with it. Carolina comes back. That improbable catch by Thielen. Then Hubbard fumbles.
I thought McLaughlin missed a field goal.
He did miss a field goal, yeah.
Right. And then, you get the great catch by Thielen, and then at that point, you're like 100-1. Because they're in field goal range, and if they kick a field goal, the game's over.
Game should be over.
And then you get the fumble, right? So you're thinking, boy, even if I get a stop here or something happens, I'm not going to have enough time. So you have the tie scenario, and then they rip off a big play. There's a long run. They somehow win it. So you move on in Survivor somehow. And I know guys, Paul Bovey's still alive. He's killing himself because you're thinking 11 people are going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
And then you have that future ticket on Atlanta. Atlanta should have won. They blow it. Cousins was awful. Tampa's supposed to lose. Division would have been over. And now it's $1.15 now, Tampa to win the division, because they come back and win and Atlanta blows it.
My heart rate was like 400 during that game yesterday, and I was not even involved in the game.
Yeah.
Also, that was the late game. How about the early game with the Colts?
Yep.
Two people were on Indy.
Yep.
Against the Patriots, and they were going to blow that game, and they get the ball back, and then they score a touchdown with like 12 seconds left. And so what are you going to do, Shane? Coach Steichen, are you going to go for 2? Are you going to send it to overtime? Nope, he's going to go for 2. So for that brief moment of time, the 2 people who were on the Colts were like, oh my God, I can't breathe.
Yep. Colts should have lost. Tampa should have lost. Vikings should have lost. Kansas City should have lost on Thanksgiving. The Detroit-Chicago fiasco, which we'll mention. Another one here. So all these people could have been eliminated, and yet only 2 people on Cincinnati go home. And 11 people are on the Broncos tonight. So, I mean, just look at the Minnesota game. They're down 2 scores in the second half, and then Arizona kicks the field goal. See, Steichen has to go for it, but then he goes for the win after they score the touchdown on 4th down. But it's 4th and goal from the 4. Gannon goes up 6. Then it's 4th and 7. Arizona gets a stop. It's over. Can't get the stop. Minnesota scores, and then Arizona can't do anything with the ball. Well, you would think it'd be easy enough there to come down, kick a game-winning field goal, just like what Tampa was able to do, only with less than 20 seconds, but Arizona couldn't manage anything.
Nope.
And that's it. And the Vikings somehow were 10-2.
Yeah, and by the way, that game should have been a blowout at halftime in favor of the Cardinals. They had huge drives the entire first half.
1 of 6 in the red zone.
Yeah,
Come
there
on.
you go. There you go. And they had to settle for the field goals the entire game.
Yeah.
That should have been a 2-score game throughout. The Vikings were still a huge price to come back and win, like in the third quarter, and they did it. And the Cardinals, again, now how about that for that division? Because of what happened last night with the 49ers, their season's pretty much over with.
That's right.
And you can have this division, but you can't finish off these drives. You set up for that. There you go. You lose the game 23-22.
2 weeks ago, the Seahawks were like 11-1 to win the division. And now if they beat Arizona, they're in the driver's seat and become huge favorites now, how things have flipped. And a couple other people were on the Rams. I mean, they're losing at halftime, getting shut out, and then the Saints have the 4th down play to tie it, and then Carr gets sacked. So it's just going back on what happened last week when you were out, how the witching hour became the witching hour and a half. What happened in the Dallas game and the end, and what happened with the Bears again, and some of these dramatic finishes. This has been nuts the last 2 weeks, and now we'll see if this is probably going to go the distance, and then people have to maneuver for Christmas.
Yeah, so 54 people now.
Yeah, and 9 teams were used again.
I'm actually not surprised because I thought yesterday was, as we saw, exceedingly tricky. That's a tough week, and you've used up a bunch of teams at this point.
That's right. We've had everything. We had the no pick. Derek read the letter on the air where the guy was just, something happened in his personal life, and he was flustered, and a well-known CEO. You had that. You had all these teams being used, the drama on Thanksgiving, unless you had Green Bay, which was easy. And then just what happened, and 9 teams used, and every game comes down to the wire, and yesterday.
Oh, man.
Nuts. Yeah.
So much drama. Incredible stuff. I love this. So now 54 people survived Thanksgiving. They call it here, week 13A and week 13B. Now we get into, moving forward here, and you have to save at least a team or two for Christmas Day on its own. And the day after that, what do you think? How many people are going to get there at the end? A dozen?
To Christmas or the whole way?
The whole way.
The whole way? Oh, boy.
8, 10?
And now we're losing multiple entries. That's the other thing. You had 4 people with multiple entries, and that ticks down. And Wise Guys, who had 6 2 weeks ago, down to 2, and he had both on Tampa Bay. So he would have gone from 6th out of the contest
in 2 weeks.
In a span of 2 weeks. So I would say 3.5. 3.5 over under. There
are so many games, and you rattled off plenty of them right there. When you look at the box scores specifically, there's no way these teams should be losing games. Atlanta is right there.
Yeah.
They outgained the Chargers 350 to 187. Paul, Atlanta had 24 first downs in the game. The Bolts had 10. And the Chargers did absolutely nothing in the second half offensively. They could not move the ball. They could sustain 0 drives. But it was just an all-timer from Kirk Cousins, and I don't know how you possibly play him for the rest of the year.
Well, I think the one thing that saves him, was you're going to Minnesota. Can you really put Penix in that spot to make his debut? But you're right. It's that bad that it has to be a question.
He's got to be hurt.
About what happened. Yeah, there's nothing on the football. That pick 6 was gift-wrapped atrocious.
Yep.
There's nothing on the ball. And then as bad as the pick 6 was, which cost him the game, the interception in the end zone.
What
are you doing? Like a lollipop. Just throws it up there like it's a lob to Shaq.
He thinks
and it's Kobe Bryant. I mean, it's just a horrendous throw on that one. And
when he's throwing the ball, I thought, he must have somebody wide open here.
That's right.
And it's in there's quadruple coverage.
Yeah, there's nobody there. And the fourth pick, I can't kill him. It's 4th down. But the other one was atrocious too. So you're dominating the game. You finally get the defense going, and you sack Herbert 5 times. They come alive, and you hand him the game and blow it. So now what do we do? He can't move. There's no velocity on the ball. You're right. He's got to be hurt. There's nothing on the ball. But that's also coming out of a bye week. So what happened? I mean, the pick 6, that's a Will Levis play. You've been in the league for 10 years. Come on.
That's like low-level college play with that throw. He's had some doozies in his career. Yesterday was all-time bad for that guy. You're exactly right. Coming out of the bye, not only he has no mustard at all whatsoever on the throws, but he can't move. Like, that's been a problem since week 1 against the Steelers. He wasn't able to move against the pass rush. And what is that going to suddenly change because he's old and the Achilles is feeling a little bit better than what it was 3 months ago? It's not going to change.
Maybe could come in and they look great and Penix is spreading it around and they have no issues. But I just think this is the game he's pointed to and going back to Minnesota, and they got to have it.
I bet them. So I have that huge ticket from in the summertime out here at Circa for the Falcons to win the Super Bowl. I bet them on Saturday night plus 250 to miss the playoffs. Because here's the deal. If they don't finish with the 3 or the 4, they're not in.
No,
which means they have to win their division.
Yeah.
That is their only possible path to get in.
We can beat Washington. If you beat Washington, I guess. But you've gone from a huge favorite 1-10 to now $1.20 to win the division. And they're like $1.30 to make the playoffs. The Saints loss, this loss, horrible. Horrible. And we've been saying it for months, though.
Oh, so many
Wait
bad
and
losses.
bet Tampa when they're 4-6 and getting people back. Now, they should have lost, but here's Tampa 6-6 with a lot of easy games the rest of the way.
A very doable schedule. And by the way, the Falcons have the hammer, and that is the season sweep of the Buccaneers, and it's probably not going to matter.
Yeah.
I don't know if you play that guy, they might lose out. He might get killed if he's starting on Sunday against the Vikings.
It's a tough call. It's a tough call in Atlanta, and it's a tough call in Baltimore. But to me, it's obvious. You got to move on from Cousins. You give him one more start. If he doesn't get it done, you go to the rookie. And the Ravens must move on from Tucker.
You at least have to bring in guys this week.
He missed more kicks yesterday in one game that he did in 5 separate seasons going back. He killed them.
Here's a tweet for you from Doug Clausen. The Ravens' 5 losses this year are combined 22 points. Justin Tucker has 22 points worth of missed kicks in those 5 losses.
Yep.
So it's going to happen. Like, he's going to come back and bite him in the ass in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. It's demoralizing.
Yep. Up next, line movement in these college football title games. Fascinating openers. And we will discuss teams that should make the playoff, even with a loss in their conference title game, coming up next.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big, we go all night, and here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Matt Brown and Mike Somich are on Ready, Set, Bet as they get you ready to make your bets as the last batch of football games kick off.
What I took away from this is I want to bet against the Patriots when they're behind by 2 scores.
We were going, well, I wonder if this team's actually better than we thought. They're not. They just have enough talent.
Don't miss out on crucial advice for live betting once the game starts, as well as looking ahead to the upcoming action. Tune in to Ready, Set, Bet Saturdays at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern on VSiN, the sports betting network.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah. Came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it, it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole 9, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, so now we've made it to the end of the regular season in college football. Conference title games are set for this weekend. So I was tracking this on Saturday night. I got home from vacation. The numbers they already moved, but I went back and looked at the openers and where they were at. The two games actually were all over the map. It was the Mountain West Conference game, UNLV and Boise, and the other one was ACC, Clemson against SMU. Some books had SMU favored. Circa opened up Clemson -3. That has since flipped.
Yeah.
SMU is -2.5.
Don't get that one at all. Have to ask Nick Bogdanovich coming up what happened there. That was, if you've watched them play all year, SMU clearly the better team, and Clemson, their best win is Pitt, and Klubnik was terrible. They had no business losing that game against South Carolina. A great game, a fantastic finish, but Klubnik was awful. And again, it was obvious to everyone it was going to be a quarterback draw there, and they couldn't stop it. So this team has been awesome. And I told the Bear a couple weeks ago, this is a top 5 team. SMU is 9-0 since the quarterback change. They've been great on both sides of the ball. Lashley is an excellent coach, and they ran the table in the conference. Great story with SMU, and they should be able to handle Clemson.
Okay, so I'm going to say this about 3 different teams here in this segment. I will start off with SMU. If they lose this game to Clemson, I don't care. SMU has to be in the playoffs.
And they will be.
It has to be. It's no consideration. They They should be a lock today by the committee.
Right.
And if they're not, I will be breaking things at my home, and several other people will, and I don't have a future bet on SMU at all, and I don't know a single person ever affiliated with that university.
Well said. You have to just scrap the format. If SMU, because they've said all along, we won't penalize you for making your conference title game.
They can't.
You cannot go undefeated in league play, and then you're up against it or penalized because you lose an extra game here.
Yep.
So, yes, absolutely. SMU, unless they get blown out, then it's ugly. But SMU has to be in. Even if they lose by 14, whatever, SMU has to be in.
I concur. So here at Circa, in the Mountain West game, Boise opened up 6.5. And that was bet down to 3.5. 3, actually, I think is where it got to.
Yep.
Now they're settling in around 4.
Yeah, too high. So it's great they get the home game. But again, the first one was close out here. But Boise apparently peaked. And Boise brought their A game early in the season, and they're limping to the finish line. So better job defensively and the quarterback play from Mattson against Oregon State. But too many close calls here. And I can't believe this is for a spot in the playoff, and UNLV was 50-1 before the season at DraftKings to make it. We've been over this. We've lived here for 24 years. For this team to win 10 games and be in this spot is insanity. It's just what a job by Odom, and they better keep him. But that's too high. And again, the Boise defense continues to give up big play after big play after big play.
Yeah, 6.5 would have been an auto bet had I been around town to take UNLV. Thought that was too much as well. And what I said about SMU a moment ago, I'm going to say the same thing about Boise State. And people will disagree. I don't care. If Boise loses this game at home, put them in the playoffs. They were the best team in the Mountain West Conference the entire year. They were undefeated in conference play. They absolutely, it's coulda, woulda, shoulda, had the Ducks on the ropes in Eugene. And you're telling me that a spot in a made-up, stupid, nonsensical, illogical, unnecessary title game, which I cannot stand, and I've been saying this for years. If they lose this game, that loss outweighs coming here to Las Vegas and beating UNLV on their home turf a month and a half ago? I don't think so. Boise has to be in. They probably won't be.
Yeah, not even listed. But that's definitely, why not? Why not two? Why isn't if it's a close game, you take both and they just split the head-to-head between the two teams.
Yep, and I can say that because these teams like 11, 12, 13, however you want to go down, Alabama, what's their case? They have a nice win or two. Okay, they have disastrous losses. Ole Miss, same exact thing. I have a huge future bet on Ole Miss. Don't care. They don't belong in. Some of these other teams, I'll say the same exact thing about them. You don't belong in. Boise State made it to their conference title game. Put them in. And the other one, obviously, would be Georgia. If Georgia loses, don't care. They got to be in. And they will be.
Mm-hmm. So how they won that game Friday night was Can't believe it.
Oh,
Can't believe it. That also would have helped out Miami big time.
Of course it
Which I
would've.
still think it does help out Miami. That you saw that Georgia Tech can play, and Georgia Tech outplayed Georgia and should have beat them on the road. So it's just been a wacky year. Again, a double-digit dog won every week. Huge upsets. How does Ohio State lose that game? And this is just no one's good.
Yep.
Even though Oregon ran the table, but you almost lost to Wisconsin. So this thing's wide open.
Well, maybe Oregon runs the entire table, and we're talking in like a month and a half. We're saying, no, they were clearly the best team in the country, and they were undefeated. But they're like a 3-point favorite in the game against Penn State. So 4 teams are in from the Big Ten, you think?
Yes.
Okay.
Lock it up.
3 SEC?
Yep.
Texas, Georgia, Tennessee?
Yep. Great job by Tennessee. Loser for me. Great job to respond down 14-0 after, and also you give up the opening kickoff.
Yep. SMU has to be in.
Yep.
It's the Arizona State, Iowa State winner. Is that it?
No, that's one.
That's it from the conference. That can only be one.
Yep.
Notre Dame's in. And then you get Boise State or UNLV, and I think both those teams should be in if UNLV wins the game.
Okay, well, we'll give them one, so that's 11.
Yeah.
There's your 11, right?
So who's the other team?
Okay. If SMU beats Clemson, your last team is Miami. This is completely mispriced. I was texting people Saturday night. You were coming back. You were traveling. I tweeted this starting Saturday night. I look up because I want to see what the numbers are for the title games. And I see Miami 350-1 at DraftKings and 325-1 at Caesars and Will Hill. At the same time, remember, all the games are over now. Colorado was 200-1. Colorado's eliminated. They have no chance.
Right.
The committee for the last 2 months, we love Cam Ward. We love Miami's offense. Eye test. You can't go from 6 to 12 because you lose by 4 on the road against a team that's 9-3 and beat UNLV and is a good team.
And by the way, they have 2 losses compared to these other teams that we're discussing with 3 losses.
Yes.
So what does that mean?
Absolutely mispriced. They are 10-1 at FanDuel to make the playoff. They are 8-1 at DraftKings to make the playoff. Brett McMurphy, Pat Forty, Stuart Mandel, and 9 other people at ESPN.com have Miami in the playoff. Because you're just going to punt on this SEC discussion with these 3 lost teams. Alabama just got boat raced by Oklahoma. Yep. So Miami doesn't have a bad loss, doesn't have a home loss, has 10 wins, has 2 losses, and lost by 5 to Georgia Tech and lost by 4 to Syracuse. Mm-hmm. Miami is going to get in. I'm very, very confident.
You're very confident based on history. Yes. They're going to take that team over Alabama.
Yes, because of what
I wish
I
was that confident.
Because Saban, gone. You know who doesn't think Alabama should be in?
Nick Saban.
Right. So you cannot have a horrible loss a week ago to an average Oklahoma team and
average.
Below, being kind. That's fair. Bad, fine. So Miami played 6 bowl teams on the road. They went 4-2. Alabama went 1-3. Alabama was atrocious on the road. I also think, I don't have a problem with the South Carolina. You'll be throwing out the first 6 weeks of the season, but South Carolina's hot, and you want to say head-to-head, well, okay, it was a 2-point game. I had to go to Alabama. Maybe I would have won if the game was at home. I think they punt on that whole discussion and say, I don't want to get involved with this Ole Miss, Alabama, South Carolina 3-loss business. Miami 2 losses. You cannot, but this is other people talking who cover the sport. Stuart Mandel from The Athletic is more confident than I am. He is pounding the table. They are taking Miami. You can't tell me that they're number 6 and they lose on the road by 4 to a 9-win team and they're going to drop all the way out.
Syracuse, not a good loss. Oklahoma, good program. And Alabama gets a pass for that.
In years past, maybe.
I wish I was as confident as you are.
Okay.
I'm not based on history. I can't be.
This is a brand name, with Miami. So
we've also been told that the Miami loss to Syracuse was a play-in game already, right? You win, you're in the playoff. The same thing has to be said about Oklahoma beating Alabama.
Yeah.
If Alabama cannot beat Oklahoma, they're out. Oklahoma stinks. Yep. That was by far their best performance of the entire year.
Yep. You can't sit there at 13 and then move up just because you beat Auburn at home. Doesn't work that way. We've been doing this for 3-4 months. Doesn't work that way.
You better be ready for some pain tomorrow.
I'm confident.
Okay.
Take the 8-1, take the 10-1. They've been telling us all year. Eye test, offense, Cam Ward's great.
Mario Cristobal kicked the field goal. He trusted his defense to get a stop.
Yep, I know. 21-0 too. I know. 21-0. It hurts. You haven't become a VSiN Pro subscriber yet? One last chance, best deal of the year, Black Friday special. Everything we do, May 1st, $60, every best bet, every host, every guest. Nigel with the soccer, college hoops, Hoops Peterson, the betting splits, DraftKings and Circa. Final day, Black Friday special, $60. Get it now, vsin.com/subscribe.
We'll get into tonight's Monday night football game coming up next. A red-hot Broncos team at home. This angle is 79% ATS over the last 25 games. The staggering details next here on VSiN.
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup. Then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to vsin.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Monday Night Football tonight. Cleveland Browns on the road against the Denver Broncos. Denver currently a 6 or a 6.5 point favorite. Total is around 41 or 41.5 at all these books. Some numbers here with how the teams are trending. Paulie, Cleveland, first of all, they're on 10 days rest. They played the game that feels like it was 3 years ago. It was a Thursday night game, only 10 days.
How about 2 snow games already? 2 epic snow games.
It's pretty awesome. Last night, I know it was a blowout last night. I don't care.
I know.
It's so much fun to watch. Yeah. The Browns are 19th in EPA per play allowed. Broncos are 2nd. So their defense has been legit the entire year. Cleveland is 22nd in EPA per play on offense in the 4 games since Jameis Winston took over. Denver since week 5, they are a top 15 team in EPA per play. And here's the trend I was talking about before the break. Steve Makinen with this at VSiN.com. Would you believe that rookie quarterbacks in their last 25 Monday night games are 19-5-1 ATS?
It's wild.
I had to do like a triple take on that.
Yep. So now Nix has his opportunity. And the playoff race would have been over if the Colts don't get that 2-point try.
Yeah.
So this is big here for Peyton going into the bye, and then Denver has a manageable schedule coming out of the bye, which starts with that big game against the Colts. If they win that, it's over. They're going to the playoffs. Daniels ticked up a bit with his performance, minus 220 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. But it's a bend but don't break defense, giving up only 16 points per game. You can call into question the opponents and who they faced. Definitely concerned about what happened in the last game against the Raiders. They were fortunate, though, with the takeaways. But it's, YOLO Winston, right? He's going to keep both teams in the game. Prop standpoint, I think Judy has a big game. He was ticked off how it ended. I wasn't used the right way, yada, yada. But he's $1.60 to throw a pick as well. But I think it'd be a high-scoring, entertaining game. And I just think, I saw it was ugly against Baltimore. And you have that big showdown against the Chargers coming up. And he certainly didn't move the ball in at issues against the Chargers at home, too. So they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be that final 7 seed. But it's a lot of points, though, too, on the road here. But I think they'll take it away. Winston will turn it over, and Nix will do enough, and Peyton will outcoach Stefanski, and they'll get the win. Yeah.
Here are Jerry Jeudy's numbers with Jameis Winston since taking over 4 games ago. 6 catches on 6 targets for 85 yards, 6 for 142 and a touchdown, 7 for 73, and 5 for 79. The average stat line in those 4 games, 6 catches on 9 targets for almost 95 yards receiving. His prop tonight is in the 50s, and it's going up. It was, I think I saw 57.5 a little bit earlier today. Shop around. You might still be able to find something like that. Here's on the revenge angle and how he has become Winston's favorite target. I shopped around today looking for some touchdown props. There was one book that had him to score 3 times as low as 30-1. Obviously, you're never going to play something like that, or please don't. That's ridiculous. Another book out here offered 180-1. I'm like, what the hell? I'll put some pizza money on 181 for him to score. It was FanDuel or Boyd out here in town.
Yeah, FanDuel has incredible prices as well, and you just saw how many big tickets cashed with all those big performances on Thanksgiving too. The other thing is what Sutton's done. So 467, 3 touchdowns in the last 5 games. And now he's been going off too. So I think Sutton with a big game. I think Judy with a big game. And Winston over passing yards as well.
What do you think of Nix's passing yards? Mike Samich here on VSiN has put us on him.
Yeah.
2 or 3 times in previous weeks. In his last 3 games, 795 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, no INTs. And when you look at what quarterbacks have done against Cleveland so far this year, we talked about this the Thursday they were playing the Steelers because Wilson's number was way too low and he flew over. Mm-hmm. But Danny Dimes, 236. Daniels, 238. Carr, 248. Hurts, 264. Wilson, Herbert, and Lamar each had 270 or more. Nix is 220.5 in this game tonight. And they're really clicking here on offense. Okay. And how about mobile quarterbacks rushing against Cleveland this year?
Yeah, he's second on the team in yards. I was going there too. Yeah, sure. Let me know.
Okay. Jaden Daniels had 82. Lamar Jackson had 46. Trevor Lawrence had 45. Hurts had 33. Fields had 26. Dimes had 20. Bo Nix's prop is as low as 19.5 rushing yards tonight.
Oh, God.
Mobile quarterbacks have been eating this defense alive.
Yeah, 24.5 Caesars Will Hill. Yeah, I like that over 19.5. He's also been a little reckless with the ball, too.
Oh, yeah.
With his 7 picks. So you could throw both quarterbacks to throw an interception tonight.
Now, I know typically, I will fully admit, I'm much better at finding guys who I think are going to have decent games than vice versa and go under. And I know a lot of bettors, pros will tell you, well, you want to look at unders instead. So many things have to happen for it to go over. Maybe this would be the one angle. Because I'm curious if Cleveland can run the football at all tonight. Mm-hmm. They are 27th in adjusted line yards on offense, 26th lowest stuffed rate. And I'm sorry, I should flip that. They get stuffed at the line of scrimmage, the 26th fewest amount of time. So they're like one of the worst ever. Like they get crushed at the line of scrimmage. They're 29th on the second level. Broncos defense, really, really good adjusted metrics. Nick Chubb was 56.5 earlier today. He was down to 51.5 at last check.
Yeah.
So people have been pounding his under, and I was able to get in under 54.5, and I think I played minus 40 with the juice. But he did not, Paul, if we go back to the game against Pittsburgh, I know he scored a couple of times in that game. He's not the same guy.
No. And I know Rizzo has told us that too, and it's going to take time, our guy in ESPN from Cleveland. Also a huge game for Coach of the Year. I mean, still, they're finding a way to do it every single week. But Dan Campbell can't be plus 180. He can't be.
I
and they got a huge game coming up against the Packers. They have the showdown with the Bills. I don't think the Lions are going to get to the finish line 16-1. Steelers win again. This is nuts with the Coach of the Year. But if you can get to 11 wins, if you're Denver, which is definitely in play, Peyton's going to be right there. And this is a great race now for Coach of the Year. And I don't know what's going to happen because I just find it hard to believe that they're going to give it to Campbell because more losses are coming. Yeah. Why, will Detroit even get the 1 seed? As bad as the job as they did early on in Sirianni, Philly might get the 1 seed.
Could. Minnesota might get the 1 seed.
Stranger things have happened. Yeah, right.
I think it's probably going to be Philly if Detroit misses out on that.
Yeah.
But now we're also seeing the injuries mount up for the Lions.
Yeah.
On defense specifically, It's like guy after guy after guy getting down. Well, how about the game that we watched last night? Can McDermott win Coach of the Year? We talked about it last week, 2 weeks ago.
I know. Still sitting out there, right?
So I think
15-1. I don't get it.
Well, let me ask you this to tie it in. Where are you at with the MVP? Josh Allen's now as high as minus 250. Is it his award?
Well, I think it's between him and Barkley.
I would agree with that.
I don't know how much credit you give Barkley for what, but certainly this whole game plan, and it keeps happening. Oh, I'm built for this. I trained for this, and I'm going to wear you down in the second half. Ravens couldn't stop him. I mean, it's 3rd and 8. They're running the ball, picking it up. First down.
Yeah, I thought that he had a pretty strong MVP moment or multiple moments yesterday in that game for Barkley. So I looked up. Mm-hmm. It feels to me like voters don't want to give, all these awards to, people on the same team. I know last year, Browns had Stefanski win Coach of the Year, and then Flacco won Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And that could have been down. Like Stroud could have won Rookie of the Year, and Ryans could have won Coach of the Year. But in 2019, Harbaugh won Coach of the Year. Lamar Jackson won the MVP. It happened in 2015, Carolina, Ron Rivera and Cam Newton. It also happened twice with the Patriots, Belichick and Brady, where they each won the MVP or the Coach of the Year. So you go back and base on history. Well, it's happened as recently as 5 years ago. Maybe McDermott can win Coach of the Year. If they get the 1 seed in the AFC, and all they need is one more loss from the Chiefs, and
it's coming. It's coming.
Maybe multiple. It might be coming this week, by the way.
Yes.
So if they can somehow have the same record, they're going to be the 1 seed in the AFC. How does McDermott not have what was their win total, 10.5?
Yep, got to jump on it. I know. I laughed at Chernoff when he gave out Allen MVP. I go, come on. But you're getting rid of Diggs and everything has worked out. Absolutely. And I love what Ryan Fitzpatrick said after the game on Black Friday. This feels a lot like what happened with Philadelphia when they were 10-1, but they weren't a real 10-1. It's a fugazi Kansas City team. And they know it too. They know it. You can't keep this up.
No.
Welcome aboard to Sewell's. Ready to elevate your tailgate game? You have to try Sewell's barbecue. Look at that. Awesome. That looks fantastic. Born from a backyard cookout in a mason jar of unforgettable flavor, Sewell's has become a Southern favorite, lighting up taste buds from Georgia to the Carolinas. From ribs and wings to backyard burger, Sewell's takes every bite to the next level. Order online, Sewell'sBarbecueSauce.com, Sewell'sBarbecueSauce.com, Sewell'sBarbecueSauce.com. ELLS, SewellsBarbecue.com. Welcome aboard. Great to have you.
Yeah, great to have him on board here. Anything tonight for you in the NBA? Lakers are playing the Wolves.
Yeah, bad spot. Back-to-back coming from Utah.
Yeah. That is a weird travel spot today.
Yeah.
The Heat are playing the Celtics, and what do you want to make about the Atlanta Hawks right now? They get the Pelicans.
Stunning.
Who would they lose by 100 yesterday to the Knicks?
Yeah. And the Hawks went back-to-back jack against Cleveland.
How about that?
Did not see that coming. We mentioned the Friday spot, though. They had that early start in Atlanta on Black Friday. So maybe Cleveland wasn't into it, but you would think the revenge angle because they just got hammered the game before, too. But it's been a weird season.
Well,
no
the Hawks took out the futures that we had on the Cavaliers to win the Cup.
Yep.
All right, what a weekend it was. Paul's going to recap a lot of the betting action in Win Some, Lose Some coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Got a good thing coming, so wait and see. It's a good.
You spoke, we listened. Introducing the all-new VSiN Watch app. Now, you can watch and listen to VSiN expert analysis live wherever you are. Missed a show? No problem. Catch replays of VSiN's full lineup at any time. View highlights sorted by sport. Or use the search feature to find specific teams and topics you're looking for. And the best part? It's free for a limited time. Download the VSiN Watch app today. Available now on the App Store and Google Play. And join us on the Sports Betting Network. last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
All right, here we go. We start with Thanksgiving Day leaders. Most passing yards, Tua plus 350. Jonnu Smith, 25-1. I told you Wednesday about the targets he's getting. I didn't think this would happen, though. What a performance. Dowdle rushing yards, 8-1. Most receiving in the Bears game, DJ Moore plus 450. In the Dallas game, Neighbors plus 230. In the Dolphins game, Smith 9-1. Every team on Thanksgiving to score 2 touchdowns or more, plus 650. Lions Bears, Keenan Allen 2 touchdowns, 18-1. Laporta 21-1. A parlay on FanDuel, 272-1. It hit. I mean, you see these tickets, it's crazy. Like, why would you think about it? Well, okay, good for you. Great. Packers, Dolphins, Reed, 2 touchdowns, 11-1. Here at Circa, Reed and Hill to score, 5-1. A Reed and Allen 2 touchdown parlay, 335-1. Saw that one too. Cowboys, Giants, Drew Lock, anytime touchdown, plus 750. Cooks, 4-1. Dallas defense, plus 240. Thanksgiving, first touchdowns, Laporta 15-1, Tracy 6-1, Reed 8-1, and Caleb Williams 3 touchdown passes at Circa, plus 780. Watson in the Chiefs game, first touchdown, 22-1. On to Sunday, first touchdown of the early games, Commanders, plus 950. Highest scoring game, Steelers, Bengals, plus 650. Low, Falcons, Chargers, 11-1. Most points, Steelers, 20-1. Fewest points, 49ers, 8-1. They go right down the field, kick the field goal, and that's it.
They look good to begin that game.
They did. And then more injuries. Most passing yards, Russell Wilson, 35-1. Rushing, Bucky Irving, 22-1. Most receiving yards, Nico Collins, 10-1. College football, Thanksgiving, Memphis, plus 425. One game, that was it. A double-digit dog won outright every week this season. It continued Saturday. Michigan, 10-1. Absolute embarrassment by Ryan Day and the Buckeyes. Wyoming, 6-1. Syracuse, plus 360. At the South Point, first touchdown in the early games, Vandy, 70-1. Return the opening kickoff.
Do you have any idea what Syracuse was in play against Miami?
12-1, I think.
I was watching that game in play on the flight.
Like that, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, God, I can just see it coming.
21-7,
the defense is terrible. I'm like, can I bet from this plane that I'm on right now? Somehow, is there a bookie on flight?
Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com. Our radio and podcast friends, you always want to see these tweets and videos at Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on an oldie but a goodie, but 'tis the season with Christmas right around the corner. The snowman in the backyard, and the dog says, that's my stick. And he jumps up, and the stick is the snowman's arm. He's dug in deep, and he's up there. He's way up there, hanging up on the stick. I don't know how he got up there. That's incredible. And he won't get off, saying, that's my stick. And it won't come off on the snowman.
Well,
Excellent.
He really wants that stick back.
Yes, he does. Yes, a listener sent this in. The puppy experienced snow for the first time because he's just jumping up and down like a bunny rabbit for like 5 minutes the first time he saw snow. And he's loving it in the backyard. It's like he won't stop doing it. I don't blame him. What a feeling. That's excellent. NFL, lose some. Dolphins have lost 11 in a row under 40 degrees. Last win, Buffalo, 2016. How about Terry Bradshaw in the pregame? They'll be fine. The cold weather doesn't bother Tua. As they show the graphic, 1-7 under 45 degrees.
Yeah.
False narrative. All this. No, Miami stinks in cold weather.
Well, yeah,
it's a fact.
That's true.
11 in a row.
Tua was really good in that game.
Yeah, he played well, yes.
The defense was beyond horrendous.
Yes. The get-out game. Hawaii's quarterback didn't play. The starter. The backup was awesome. Micah, 1.5 up to 6.5. Huge move in the get-out game. Hawaii wins. Virginia, 7.5 down to 4.5. No good. Central Florida, 6.5 up to 10. They lost, and Gus Malzahn quit and took the OC job at Florida State. Bad for the books. Old Dominion, 2.5 up to 5.5. Air Force from 3 up to 6. Florida, 13 up to 17. That also helps out Miami. Miami went there and buried them week 1. Several bad beats. Drew Lock, first touchdown, 33-1. How does he not get in?
Yeah.
What's he doing? The foot hit the pylon. Put the ball over the...
Did you not think for sure like it was a score?
Had to score on that. Oh. That's incredible. Boy, it's a vicious beat. 33-1. Texans, 3.5. It's 23-3 in the fourth quarter. Mac Jones, they couldn't stop Mac Jones.
They are so fugazi, it makes me sick.
Absolutely. Navy, East Carolina, under 53.5 or 54. 3-0 at halftime it went over. You can't be serious. USC plus 7.5.
That's
back-to-back 100-yard pick sixes.
Have you ever noticed, by the way, a single 100-yard pick six be that easy to score on, let alone two from the same team?
Well said. I know. Well said. And one more.
They could have won that game outright.
Yeah, I know. And then a listener sent this in. Trey, this was, I think, Friday in one of the holiday classics. Oklahoma laying 2.5. They're up 6. They foul. Providence makes their free throws. And then out of a timeout, Oklahoma has 6 guys on the court. That's a technical.
Technical, yeah.
So then Providence gets the ball. They miss. Oklahoma wins by 2, laying 2.5. They're up 6 with like 8 seconds.
Ooh.
Ridiculous. I got a couple lose some here, too. Let me give you a couple lose some before I wrap this up. The thing on the Jets. The Jets continue to take money. Okay, number one, the Bengals have lost 4 times this year in which they scored 33 points or more.
Yep.
That's historic. Never happened. And the Jets, to be favored, the first team in the Super Bowl era to be favored in 9 of their first 12 games and ended up 3-9 or worse from ESPN Stats and Info. Every week. Definition of insanity.
Yep. Been laughing about that now. We did look-ahead lines. I can't even put a date on that now, like 10 days ago or whatever, for this game. And we both laughed out loud and we yelled, like, how are they favored again? Mm-hmm. How?
Yeah.
Against Seattle. And the way that game played out, there is an injury update, by the way. Adam Schefter moments ago. I think we all saw this coming. Shanahan said McCaffrey did injure his PCL, 6-week recovery. His season, I mean, how is it not over? But we have 5 weeks left. And on top of that, his backup, Jordan Mason, ankle injury. He's being placed on IR. So, hello, Isaac Garando on every fantasy roster in the country.
It won't stop. Season from hell.
No, it's a wasted year. Here's who I wrote down. See if you agree or disagree, or maybe even have some more teams. A wasted year for the 49ers, and I think their championship window is now done. Totally wasted year for the Jets.
No doubt.
No doubt. Wasted year for the Bengals.
Yep. Got to fire Taylor.
Has to be gone.
Lou's got to go, too. They can't stop anything.
Yep. Totally wasted year for the Chicago Bears.
Oh, absolutely. And now you see how well Williams has looked since the move putting Brown in there.
Sure. And the other team would be the Cowboys, although I don't think a lot of people really had high expectations for Dallas. But there was a wasted offseason into this year.
Yeah.
And so I think all those teams, the Jets maybe. I bet them. I'm not going to lie. I had 30-1 on them when I saw it over at the Westgate. I'm like, that's by far the highest number. And they never changed it. They never moved it. Other people were betting. They're like, I'm guessing people at the Westgate were like, we'll take every single bet that you want to make at 30-1 on this team.
I would think there'd be a change in Cincinnati. Dable's out with the Giants. Mayo could be out with the Patriots. Jets already whacked Salah. Peterson's got to go. Pierce has got to go. How about Pierce again on Friday? Oh, my God. How many mistakes can you make? Boy, is he lost. It's incredible to watch it week in, week out. It's just like the Bears.
The same guys
and
over and over
And it finally took what happened on Thanksgiving for the world to see, for the Bears to say, okay, that's enough. And the numbers on the Bears, the good, the bad, the ugly, they're just staggering.
Again, the most alarming thing about Knucklehead there is that it was like 4 consecutive weeks.
Hold on, which one?
Well,
Eberflus?
Yeah,
okay.
sorry.
I thought Pierce.
Okay. No, we'll call him Knucklehead 1 and Knucklehead 2. But on Eberflus, it happened week after week after week for a good month stretch, and every time he would defend it.
He doubled down?
Hey, again?
Yes.
Again.
We did the right thing. I like what we did there. Yeah. Okay.
You're getting eviscerated by the play-by-play crew and everybody on TV everywhere.
I wish I was in the locker room.
Oh, my God.
Apparently, Jalen Johnson went off for 10 minutes on the guy.
Did he?
Profanity-laced tirade. Jay Glazer had that yesterday.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Keenan Allen, some of his quotes.
Oh, yeah.
Other players, like, what on earth just happened?
Mm-hmm.
How was that actually a thing? And it was just one that started again. It feels like the Hail Mary loss to the Commanders was 2 months ago, but it was every week since then.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, to put a bow on that, clearly that guy can never ever be a head coach ever again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he just dug his own grave. If you want to make him a coordinator somewhere somehow, be my guest. Never ever can a team ever hire him again.
Yep. The exact same scenario played out in the Steeler game. The exact same thing happened. For whatever reason, Russell Wilson is going to snap the ball. They have a timeout. and the clock's running before halftime, and Tomlin's got to come in and save the day. It's like, what? You just call the timeout. What are you doing?
Right. I mean, I'm sure that we're going to hear plenty of names up for that Bears job. I saw last night people were already floating out Kingsbury.
Yeah, with the history there.
Yeah.
That's a mistake, though.
I would agree. I think you want to go somewhere else. Up next, I can safely say I've never doubted two-time defending champs with an 11-1 record as much as I do this year. We'll discuss it coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard share their knowledge of sports, gambling, and pop culture on Follow the Money at